Ben, thank you. And at noon, we love to have our restaurants on for Foodie Finds to learn more about what's out there to try. But today, we're taking a deeper dive into the culture of the Minnesota food scene. And we're so thrilled to welcome Chef Yia Vang in the studio, the host of PBS show Relish, which has just released its 5th season. My man, you've been working hard.
Yeah, it's incredible. We're so excited about the seasons. They're longer format, so they're 23, 24, 24 minutes. They're incredible. The stories are incredible that we get to tell.
One of my favorite things about you, there's many favorite things. I already told him that we're new friends. He just didn't know it yet. You spent a lot of time finding stories to chase to inspire people. Tell me why that is so important to you when it comes to, your journey and what it's been like so far.
Yeah, I firmly believe that food is a universal language we can use to speak to each other. So as a Hmong kid who grew up in central Wisconsin with predominantly white, friends, a lot of times it was just them coming over and eating with us. And it's just this thing where I just found that no matter where you are in the world, we connect through food. And to truly to say, how curious are you about this food? Because we firmly believe that every dish has this narrative, that you follow that narrative long enough and close enough, you get to the people behind the food. And once you're there, it's actually not about food, it's about people. Food is this catalyst into cultivating great relationships. And for us, with Relish, we doubled down on it and said, let's do this. And I think that we have this thing here in Minneapolis where we believe where it's like, oh, we have to go to all these big places, all these big different worlds. Well, here in Minneapolis, the world has come to us. And in our backyards, there's all these cultures, these deep, rich cultures, that it starts with literally just sitting down at the table with somebody.
Of course, I told you I'm still pretty new to Minnesota. Okay, so describe the food scene to me here in Minnesota through your eyes.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of times people think of Minneapolis, the Twin Cities area, as this flyover state, right? And, that it's, this Swiss, Norwegian, kind of food scene, which there's that aspect of it. But I mean, like, if you go into St. Paul, on the University and Dale area, like that area right there, they call it Little Mekong. It is this Southeast Asian group of people that came there and they stayed there and they built these incredible restaurants. You go into South Minneapolis, you have Somalian food, you have so many rich West African food there. And for people to think that it's this one way only, it's like, nah, man, you really missed out.
Yeah. A lot of times I feel like people just don't know the questions to ask. Like, what's the one thing that you think people should ask more about when they try these new places that would bring their experience to the place that you are at all the time?
I would say is what's the story behind it? What is the story behind this food? Because, the rice that you eat, the protein that you eat, the vegetable you eat, all of that connects to the hands that's made that food, and in that hand is connected to the heart, and the heart's connected to that soul. This food that we have here in the Twin Cities, it's so rich in stories, and it's not this food where it's like, oh, they're trying to make this trend or whatever. A lot of it is a mom cooking for their kids so that the kids can survive.
And speaking of all those gifts that we get from those hands, a new restaurant coming. You got to tell me about this before I let you go.
Yeah, so we have this new restaurant. It's called Vinai. It's coming. We've been working on it really hard. Construction's going on it. There's been a few bumps and bruises here and there, but it's going. The cool thing about Vinai and the thing that we love is what I always say is it's a love letter to my mom and dad. It's about 4 or 5 years ago. I literally wrote them a letter, and then I gave that letter to an architect and our designer and said, hey, how can we build a restaurant around this? And they did that, and it's incredible. We're so excited, and if you keep your ears tuned, we'll give you that release date.
I love that so much. And you know what I always say, it's always good when we get a chance to be a little smarter. One bit of wisdom, get you somebody in your life that describes you like how Yia just described all of culture and food. I need that. That's why we're going to be friends. Hey, we'll have more on this coming up. And of course, you can go to KARE11.com for much, much more. Well, ahead